Hey friend, Chris Vandeviver here from WhyLogicProRules.com, the website that helps you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro 10. Today I want to show you how to remove the bloat from your Logic projects. Maybe you have a project that's complete, you're ready to put it away on a hard drive and archive it, but the project has gotten pretty big over time. Let's take a look at this project here, but in the Finder on my Mac. And if we go to the project folder here on my desktop, right-click and go down to Get Info, we can see here in the Get Info dialog here that this project is about 7 gigs. It's fairly big, and rightfully so. I mean, I have 6 different songs that I've mixed in the same project, but I can guarantee you that there are files in this project that I just don't need anymore. So the big question is how do we remove the bloat from this project without accidentally deleting all the files that are super important to the project? The first step I always take before archiving, and I've discussed this in other videos, but I go to File, Project Management, and Consolidate. Now this dialog is going to offer us a variety of options. Essentially what Consolidate does is it locates any files that are not currently saved within the project folder. This happens sometimes. Sometimes we forget to check mark things like copy audio files, copy sampler, audio data. And so Logic is just referring to that audio file somewhere else on our Mac or hard drive. If we decide to move the project later to a different hard drive, we may lose that reference. So the Consolidate option allows us to gather up and save any important data to the project folder itself. So if we again look at the Finder, this folder right here, those files are going to be saved in folders within the project folder. So to be safe, I just select everything, but really the most transient files that are easy to lose are the audio files. Things like sampler audio data, Alchemy, Ultrabeat. If you're using the stock sounds that come with Logic, those are already saved and designated to a folder on your Mac. And every time you open up Logic, it's going to refer to those files in their default place. So as long as nothing has been moved, I'm not really worried, but we never know what the future might hold. So it's better to be safe than sorry. So I just select everything that's relevant to my project. Apple Sound Library content, if there was any of that in this project, Space Designer, etc., and I hit OK. Now Logic looks around, finds these files, and then saves them to the project folder. In this case, there's nothing really else to save. Okay, next up, we're going to open the project browser. Now I use key command F, but you can also right-click, customize control bar and display, and let's just make sure that the browsers option is enabled here. So we have this button that looks like a camera, a music note, and a piece of film. And this will open up the browser. The browser has 3 tabs. We're going to open the project tab, as the project tab is where all of our audio files are housed for this project. Next step, we're going to go to Edit and select Unused. From here, Logic has selected and highlighted every audio file and every audio region that is not currently in use in the project in the tracks area here. That means that these highlighted regions and audio files are not visible in the tracks area or even hidden in the tracks area as well. So this means that we really aren't using these files or regions and they're not really important to our project. This can happen. Sometimes you hit record, you get a take, and you didn't need that take, so you delete it. But there could still be a reference in the project browser here and even a saved audio file in your project. Now the next step, you have a couple different variations, but I choose to go in a certain path here because I want to make sure to follow the different project management settings instead of kind of working within the project browser. Let me demonstrate. From Edit here, I'm going to go down and now select Delete. What's going to happen is we're not going to delete the audio files from our project. We're going to delete the references to the files and regions within the project browser here. If I press Delete, now we've removed those references. So if I go to Edit, select Unused, nothing is highlighted. It's been removed. Now we could go to Audio File and then down to Delete Files. So let me just select one of these files here, and you can see it's highlighted. But I get a little nervous with this particular option because it's very easy to accidentally delete a file that is actually important to the project. Instead, I'm going to go back to File, go down to Project Management, and Cleanup. Cleanup, I would say, is a safer way of deleting unnecessary files. We've removed the references within the project browser, so now there are these audio files just hanging out in our audio files folder, but they're not actually referenced anywhere in the project. So I want to delete those unused files, delete any backups, only if I'm all set with this project and I don't need to go back to a previously saved version, and delete media browser files. So if we hit OK, Logic is now going to identify the files that are going to be removed from the project completely. And we can see here, these are the files. Now, at this point, you got to be super careful because once we hit OK, we will be placing these files into the trash on our Mac. So right around here. And let me actually clean out the trash right now so we can see this difference. So empty it out. I'm going to hit OK. And now the trash is not empty. It's populated with all of these audio files that we decided were not important to the project anymore. At this point, we are one step away from completely deleting these files forever. So you really have to be absolutely certain that you want to delete these files because once they're gone, they're gone. Now let's take a look at the size of the project now since going through this cleanup process. If I hit Command S to save, go back to the Finder, we'll close the trash can here. And if I right click on this folder and go down to Get Info, now in the Get Info dialog here, we're about 5 gigs. We've just about eliminated 2 gigs worth of audio files. This is tremendous. But maybe you go through this whole process and you don't see much of a change in the size of your project. What do you do then? Well, to demonstrate why this might be the case, let me just create a new track in Logic. So new audio track, we'll set the input to input 2, create. And let's just zoom in here. We're going to call this voiceover, even though I'm not plugged into it. We'll record enable it, and we're just going to record a couple passes, just empty passes. Check it out. And let me solo this so we don't get all the noise there. Okay, there's one pass. Second pass. And third pass. Okay. We now have a take folder with 3 individual audio files. These are not just regions. Take 1 is its own file, and you can see here in the project browser that it's its own file because we always see a file followed by any regions in the project. So this drop-down disclosure, this is the file. That's the region referencing the file. Take 2 is its own file as well, and take 3 is its own file as well. Perhaps you have a take folder of a vocal track and you've got like 50, 60, 100 passes of that vocal track, which means that you have 50, 60, or 100 audio files related to that vocal track that are saved to the project and are currently in use. Remember, if I go to Edit, select Unused, we're not actually selecting anything because all of this is in use in the project right now. And honestly, I would be hesitant to remove these files from a project. If this were a vocal pass and I, comp together the best take, what I would do then is then bounce this region in place so I have a solid, rock solid composite that's its own audio file. And if I need to flex edit that vocal track or whatever the case may be, I would flex edit and then bounce again. So I have those edits committed to an audio file. But personally, I don't delete take folders because you never know when you might need to go backwards in time and pull together a different composite or fix a flex edit that you didn't realize was a little messed up at the time. The call is totally yours, but for me personally, once I'm done comping together and bouncing in place, all I do is power down and then hide that track lane from the view. But it's always there. It's always in the project just in case I need to go back. But maybe you decide, no, I'm good with that take folder. I'm never ever gonna work with it again. So let's just delete it, this take folder. And for now, we'll just keep it just so we can demonstrate. So for all, hit OK. So now let's go to Edit, select Unused. We can see now that these are not used in the project. So let's go to Edit, Delete, and once again, we'll go to File and Cleanup. But in this case, we're being offered the option, Delete recorded audio file from disk. You can't undo this. In this case, let's hit OK, perfect. Again, for the process of archiving your projects, I suggest going into the project browser, going to Edit, select Unused, and then Edit, Delete, and then go to File, Project Management, Cleanup, to clean up any loose ends that are hanging around your project. They're just taking up space for no reason. Don't forget to also do the Consolidate option to make sure that everything important to the project is actually saved to the project. I hope that was helpful for you. If it was, as always, I highly suggest subscribing to the YouTube channel, Why Logic Pro Rules, or subscribing on the website itself, whylogicprorules.com. Every week, I'm posting new videos, new emails, and posts to help you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro 10. Thanks so much.